Good morning. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, March 1st, 9:30 meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
I do, the usual. Most of you have been here before, but for those of you who haven't come before us or participated in any of the proceedings, the way the protocol that we follow is the applicant first makes their case. If there are any objectors, then we give the objectors the opportunity to present their objections, and then we call the applicant again to summarize and finish the hearing. Once we close the hearing, we will not take any more evidence, and that's it. Patrick, would you like to call the case?
Mr. Chairman, we have a few adjournments for the morning.
Okay.
First, we're going to call case 14823 West Hempstead, Megan Rutner and David Muscat. Variance front yard setback on Jefferson Street, construct deck with stairs attached to dwelling, also known as 679 Euclid Avenue. Take a seat.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So I apologize.
Name and address.
Andrew Shear, 391 Garfield Avenue, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. I need to have an adjournment for the case. The mailing was not sent out, and I apologize. So
Patrick.
take the next available.
Right.
We can do adjournments in the afternoon if you like. We already have one adjournment.
First available date,
We can do April 5th,
is that okay?
9 o'clock?
9
9:30?
o'clock, 9:30?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, April 5th, 9:30 a.m.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Next, Patrick.
Next, we have case 7723, Garden City South, Richard Tonino. Variance, lot area occupied, construct two-story addition with roof over porch attached to dwelling, also known as 332 Kensington Road South. Just your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Barbara Corella, 746 Hempstead Turnpike, Franklin Square, New York. And this is Angelo Peroni, he's got laryngitis, so he's also 746 Hempstead Turnpike, Franklin Square. And we're requesting an adjournment because the architect could not be here today for the hearing. And I believe he had already called and spoke with someone concerning the adjournment for March 15th, if possible.
I'm sorry, did you say, what was your last name? How do you fit with the case?
We are the builders that will be
For Tonino?
for the owners.
Okay, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The owner's not here.
So now what's the, I'm
owner's not
sorry, I
here.
was still stuck on the name. So you're the builders for the applicant,
Yes.
and it was adjourned once before, I'm not sure.
Yes, I was here that day, and I was unaware of any dates that the architect was unable to make, so when you said this day, I went back and told him, and he says, oh, I'm not here.
2 days, they're both architects.
If we give you a date now,
He,
when do you call the architect then? Or have you cleared certain dates with the architect?
March 15th with him, he had already spoken with Patrick, from my understanding, to set it up for that.
It was originally for March 15th, and he suggested March 15th. March 15th is not going to fit the mailing dates. So then I suggested to him.
Already.
You did the mailing already?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I have that.
Right,
Okay.
The mailing and no one's here, right?
Okay.
So that'll work.
so if the mailing was done, we can do March 15th. At 2 o'clock, you originally said.
2 p.m.?
Okay, that's
2
what he
p.m.
said.
Tell the architect we expect him here, please.
Yes,
Maybe it'll help you out.
I hope so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Feel better.
Yes, so you had.
Any other adjournments, Patrick?
That's all I have. Anybody else here have any other adjournments for the morning calendar?
Okay.
First, we're going to call case 13623 Oceanside, 2860 Oceanside LLC. Renewal of grant to maintain illuminated double-faced detached pylon ground sign, overall size 120 square feet, 60 square feet per face, overall height 18 feet 10 inches, setback 7 feet from Long Beach Road, also known as 2860 Long Beach Road. Nobody's here?
No one seems to have signed in. Guitar. Where's the sheet? This is a renewal of a grant to maintain an illuminated double-faced detached pylon ground sign. Overall size 120 square feet, 60 square feet per face, overall height 18 feet 10 inches, setback 7 feet from Long Beach Road. Since no one is here and no one has appeared in opposition, we can grant an appearance waiver, and we will do that. Premises was inspected on January 9th, 2023, and the building department found that all the previous conditions were being complied with. In that case, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. The applicant will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have case 13723 Franklin Square Plaza LLC. Renewal of grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated monument sign setback 9 feet from property line, also known as 179 New Hyde Park Road. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sal Vitale.
Whoa, hold on. Can you tap that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you?
Closer.
Yeah.
My name is Sal Vitale, 500 Old Country Road, Garden City.
And who are you? You're representing the owner?
Representing the owner, yes.
Okay. It's a renewal. Yeah. This is a renewal of a grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated monument sign setback 9 feet from the property line. Property was inspected by the building department on January 11th, 2023, and they found that all prior conditions imposed by this board have been complied with. Do you have anything else to add? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Vitale, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second? Mr. Musella.
Since he has a rep, we should probably wait for it.
Yeah, we should. Mhm. Next case, 138 of 23, Vincent Musillo. We understand that the applicant's representative is not here, so we're going to put that on second call.
Okay. We're going to call case 13923 through 14023 near Malvern. Maxim and Lena Zartiski and Svetlana Baud, mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, variance side yard, maintain 2 AC units attached to dwelling, also known as 1206 Dogwood Avenue. Everybody please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name and address for the record.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Maxim Zawitsky, and here with me.
Lena Zaritsky and Svetlana Bauda is my mother.
So we're applying for the second kitchen, and actually we bought the house with the second kitchen already. And the second is the variance on the air conditioners. They are 3.9 feet and 4 feet to the property line.
Right, the primary housekeeping unit is going to be where? Up, down?
The primary is up, the secondary is down.
Okay, and who's going to be living in the primary unit?
That's us.
That's us.
Okay.
We're on the second floor.
Maxim and Lena and Alice is your daughter?
Alice.
Okay, and in the secondary unit?
This is my mom, Svetlana Bauda.
All right. How many cars do you have in the family? 2 cars. And is there room to park both cars off the street?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been given a mother-daughter fact sheet? You have to have 1 doorbell, 1 mailbox. It has to look like 1 family home, and the application, if approved, is not transferable. Once you sell the house, that will no longer be a mother-daughter.
I understand.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Well, Mr. Chairman, one thing I couldn't find this sheet, so I'll just quickly go over. Every mother-daughter application has with it a review by the Board of Architectural Review. In your case, the Board of Architectural Review found the arrangement that you have to fit all of the requirements of mother-daughter in terms of its structure and where the doors are, et cetera, and made no recommendations as to any changes. So that's good news for you.
Thank you.
Other than that, Mr. Chairman, if there's nothing else to add, I would move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case, Patrick. Thank you.
Next, we have case 14123, West Hempstead, Daniel and Toby Schaefer. Variances, side yards aggregate, construct 2-story additions attached to dwelling, also known as 693 Knollwood Drive. The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hetherington, 114 Gate Lot Avenue, Lake Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779.
Crystal Sudant, 2449 Union Boulevard, Islip, New York.
They're on. They just don't seem very...
No.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board.
One moment. So there are 3 people signed in on this case.
Who's third?
Okay,
Third.
is that part of the applicant, or is that someone, a neighbor?
It is the homeowner.
Oh, so you're representing her. So if she doesn't need to speak, it doesn't matter to us. Okay, thank you.
So the only variance is you need a side yard and side yard aggregate. So what is required and what are you proposing?
So what is required is a minimum of 8.36 with an aggregate of 25.1. We are proposing a minimum of 5.2 with an aggregate of 13.6. Basically, we are proposing a 2-story addition to the rear of the house. Due to the geometry of the site is a very drastic pie shape. It has a very wide front yard setback width and then comes to a significant point to the rear, generating a large aggregate side yard requirement. However, again, as any sort of substantial improvements made to the rear of the property, it becomes a bit of a pinch point.
Yeah, and just for the record, because the front is so wide, you end up being thrown into the percentage game for your side yard and side yard aggregate requirements. But if this were not so extremely
so
pie-shaped,
severe.
you would have a 5 requirement, and you have 5.2 that you're providing with the squaring off, and you would have a 15 aggregate, and I didn't hear what you're proposing for.
Proposing for the aggregate is 13.6.
13 which would be de minimis, if not for the fact that the front's so wide.
Correct.
So, that's the only thing you're requesting, right?
Correct. And again, this is, again, even though it is a bit on the, on the minimum side, it is consistent with the neighborhood. The 2 adjacent neighbors currently have side yard setback minimums of roughly 5.6 and 5.2 with an aggregate. Each one is about 15 and the other one is 15.6. So really
Yeah,
what
if
was
your-
being
if your lot
proposed
was-
is,
If the front of your lot was the same size as the rear of your lot,
This
you
would
would
be
be, you'd need a side yard aggregate, a small one, and that's it. So,
correct.
okay.
Just for your information, there is an open permit, 2018-01446, demolish a 1-family dwelling, foundation and deck to remain. It's a newly constructed home, the way it looks.
I'm sorry?
It's a newly constructed home, correct?
Correct.
So you should close out that open permit,
Yes.
okay? Thank you. Do you have anything to add?
No, we're open for any other questions that the board may have.
Do I have any other questions from the board?
I move that the hearing be closed and the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Do I
Thank
have
you.
a
Have a nice
second?
day.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Mr. Chairman, we're just going to recall case 14823, West Hempstead, Megan Rutner and David J. Muscat. The next date would be April 26th, 9:30.
That is, okay, thank you. What's that? My final answer. Thank you very much, I apologize. Thank you. Didn't comprehend the date when I made it. Thank you.
Next case, Patrick. 142.
Next, we have case 14223, Levittown, John H. and Cynthia Schmidt, immediate family residence, second kitchen, also known as 411 Whittier Avenue. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth? Nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
For the applicant, John and Cynthia Schmidt, John Farrell, firm of Son, Ward, Braff, Koblenz. Our offices are at 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Suite 601, Uniondale, New York.
Morning.
Good morning. This is a very simple, straightforward application. I've gone over the conditions with my clients. They're in the audience. They understand that if the living arrangements change, the special permit would go away, and whoever bought the house would have to reapply, or they would have to come back and reapply if there was a change in the use. The primary residence would be on the first floor. That would be occupied by the owners, John and Cynthia Schmidt. The apartment on the second floor, the second dwelling unit, would be occupied by Christine LaRocca, who is the sister of Ms. Schmidt.
And you want to give us the names of the kids?
Yeah.
The children are Hannah and Zachary. They're college-age students. They go away to school, so they're not even home full-time.
And Ellie?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, that's the.
You eliminated one child.
Not sure how your clients feel about that.
Maybe
I don't know, it's three, they're near the end, so maybe they want to get rid of her.
Just out of curiosity, what's in the basement?
What's in the basement?
Is it finished?
Storage. It's not a living.
Unfinished?
No bathroom?
Oh, there is a bathroom, sorry.
Is it, I guess that's all permitted already?
Yes, they have permits for all the work that they're doing except for the second kitchen.
Okay, and that's being installed or is it already there?
No, it's not there yet. Actually, this is what's holding them up.
Any other questions? Do you have anything to add?
No, if the board has any questions.
Do I have any questions from the board?
I'll just, real quickly, I'm trying to find the Board of Architectural Review, just to make sure that, I don't know why I can't find these things today. Here we go. Okay, and as you know, you've been here before, the Board of Architectural Review reviewed the proposal and found it to be suitable as an immediate family / mother-daughter residence, provided all other. We don't have a floor plan for the basement. I wish we had that.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, usually it includes that.
That's why I didn't know what was in the basement, actually. I
All right.
didn't have the plan when I was preparing.
Mr. Chairman, I move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who's signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's ready.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I don't love that. There's a cellar entrance and a bathroom down there, and they didn't even do.
Next, we have case 14323, Levittown, Preem Virali. Variance, side yards aggregate, construct second floor addition attached to dwelling, also known as 29 Harvest Lane. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You guys?
Yes.
Please take a seat.
Kurt Jacobs, architect, 201 Northwest Drive, Farmingdale, New York.
I get the written one.
Good morning, Mr. Jacobs.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Prem Viravalli has asked me before you with his variance request. We're proposing to build a second-story addition over his current attached garage conversion. The garage conversion was built under permit 2015-02939, which did require a variance for side yards and side yard aggregate. I have a copy of the decision in 2015, a picture of the side yard and a survey.
Mr. Jacobs, you're just going straight, none of this, it's all over the existing footprint
Correct.
and over the garage, which is legal,
Yes.
permitted.
But I'd like to hand this in. Also, back then, 2015,
Mr. Jacobs, what is that you're handing in, just so she can take it down?
I handed in information regarding the 2015 variance.
Okay.
Okay, and in that paperwork was a survey with a 4.9-foot setback, and they required an aggregate side yard and a side yard setback. We're just asking for an aggregate side yard because the survey that we're using for this variance shows a 5.1-foot side yard setback, so we're only asking for the aggregate instead of both. I mean,
Okay, you're just trying to cover your bases because
Yeah, because-
you said 4.9 before, you got a
Yeah,
5.1 now.
Some surveyors take it from the foundation, some surveyors take it from the siding.
But that garage is legally there.
Oh, yeah,
pursuant
under
to grant from this board,
2015
and you're just
permit.
building over at second level.
Correct.
We'll accept that survey into evidence.
Anything else?
No, he's spoken with his neighbors, and there is no problems.
Yeah.
I have a copy to hand in if you want to see the survey that have this application under now.
Isn't there, there's not one, it's probably in the file, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, as long as it's in the file.
See it.
Do you have anything you'd like to add, Mr. Jacobs?
No, sir.
Okay, do I have any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Jacobs, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Next case.
Next, we have cases 14423 through 14723. Wanta, Kevin and Maureen Doyle. Variances, lot area occupied, construct roof over open porch attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain trellis attached to dwelling. Maintain pool equipment not permitted in side yard and with less than required side yard setback. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached to dwelling. Also known as 2991 Mandalay Beach Road. Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please take a seat and state your name and address.
Hugh Schaefer, 174 West Merrick Road, Merrick, New York, 11566, appearing for Kevin and Maureen Doyle. And Mr. Kevin Doyle is seated to my left here. Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. This application is to maintain in excess of the lot area occupied and the equipment for the pool and AC units in the rear yard and a rear trellis that was installed by my client some 4 years ago. However, when he purchased the subject property in 2018, all existed with the exception of the trellis he installed some 4 years ago. The equipment in the pool was legal, but the equipment not shown in the side yard. I have brought an updated letter from the neighbor that would be affected by the pool equipment or the AC unit.
I'd like to offer that.
Recent letter, it's
accept
just
it.
dated the other day, so I'm submitting that. What brought this application before the board was when he purchased the property, it had a front facade change that was never filed, which created a problem with water damage and so on, which he went to an architect to eliminate the problem. And I'll show that picture to the board as well. So that was existing without a permit. However, the new application to change the front with the portico, which is a permitted encroachment into the front yard, however, not before the board, does change the lot area occupied. And naturally, this area in 1965 was developed in the Mandalay Beach area, with all the houses being just about excess of the lot area occupied, larger homes going from 27 to 28% lot area occupied. Therefore, anything of an improvement on that property would exceed the 27.5% required in today's standards. If the board would grant this application, the trellis that does exceed the lot area occupied, making it at least 2% more, would be limited to not to be enclosed as an open trellis as is proposed. It has no encroachments other than lot area occupied. And I'd like to make one correction. On the plot plan that was submitted, it shows 2 AC units, but the 1 AC unit to the rear is existing. The other AC unit is really the pool heater. So it was a miserror. So if the board would grant this application as such, make that correction, please, that the lower AC unit is really a pool heater with the same size and setback from the side yard of 2 feet.
Mr. Schaefer, on ours, it's color-coded, so I see the 3 items there. The orange is labeled existing AC unit A to be maintained. The next item in blue says existing pool heater to be maintained. The next item, also blue, existing pool pump. So what are we to eliminate? Because those all seem to be needed.
I'm going to mark this as heater. It's been updated already. Okay.
The one that they have
I
is
didn't see
updated.
that. Okay. So that's a heater, not an AC unit.
Okay, ours accurately reflects that.
Yes.
Okay, so we're good.
So all of it is existing except the trellis in the rear that they installed some 4 years ago.
Wait, the trellis is existing. I saw a photo of it.
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
And actually what triggered it is she's changing the front facade to something that's more modern and doesn't leak and create all kinds of water damage.
That's a good thing to do. Water damage is good. I have no further questions.
So did I miss it? Or, so if the application is granted, your lot coverage is going to be 32.70 feet as opposed to percent, as opposed to 27.5%.
Yes.
Is that correct? Do I have any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I've moved that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on decision calendar. Mr. Schaefer, you and your client will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Thank you.
Second.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have case 14923, near Valley Stream. Brian Baruch Rees and Riva Rees. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, rear yard, construct 2-story additions, roofed over porch and wood deck, all attached to dwelling, also known as 592 Prescott Place. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Brian Reese.
And Riva Reese, we're at 592 Prescott.
Good morning, Shmuel Flaum, residing at 194 Wanzer Avenue, Inwood, New York, 11096. Good morning, everyone. Okay. We're here in front of the board today seeking variances for an alteration addition to an existing 1-story dwelling. We're adding a 2nd story, and at the rear, we're seeking to add an extension that encroaches into the rear yard. and also to the side yard, as well as a second-story extension forward. I'm going to enumerate the variances one by one. We're permitted to have a building area of 1,835.15 square feet, which is 27.5% of the lot area. The existing is 1,752.67, which is just under the 27.5% threshold at 26.26. We're seeking a footprint of 2,319.43 square feet, or approximately 34.76%. In addition to the building area of the house, accessory decking permitted at 180, sorry? This is Residence B District. Sorry, yes, it's a Residence B District. Accessory decking permitted at 2.5% at 166.83.
Slow down.
We're following this on paper.
It's not easy.
Sorry.
You speak too quickly.
I'll try to slow down.
Okay.
Where the permitted amount is 2.5% or 166.83 square feet. The existing that was there was 277.30. We're reducing our deck because we're also enlarging the house. So the proposed new deck is 243.83 square feet or 3.65%. So in total, between the building and the accessory deck, it's a proposed 38.41%, which is over the 30% allowable. But broken down, again, it says it's 34.76% for that building and 3.65% for the decking. In addition to the surface coverage being triggered by the proposed enlargement, we have an interesting lot where the lines are, the side lot lines, are converging to a narrower rear yard than the front yard. The front yard lot line is 71.93 on a curve. At the rear, it's 63.18. So in order to do a straight line extension off the back of the existing house, we're creating a side yard setback variance. So where you're required to have a minimum side yard of 5.8 and 11.6, we're proposing a side yard of 4 foot 7.5 and 8 foot 1 inch at that rear yard. Again, there's an existing non-conforming issue on the west side as it is, and we are, I believe, keeping that, but we're proposing a new one with the straight line extension on the east side. In terms of the front yard, we're requesting a variance for the average front yard, which was calculated at 27.65 within 200 feet of the neighbors on either side. Currently, we have an existing 25'2", which is forward of the average. We're seeking a front yard of 18 foot 10 and...
Slow down a little more.
Sorry.
I'm really trying to follow you on all
Okay, I'm sorry. We're seeking a front yard variance setback of 18 feet 10.5 inches, but that's specifically to the covered porch itself. The house is set back further at 22.
It's in the front, it says new two-story. Is the two-story in violation of the building zone ordinance?
It's,
Setback.
yes, it requires a front yard variance.
Okay, so you're giving me this 1810 to the covered porch.
Correct. Because the covered porch counts as building area when it's covered and doesn't count when it's uncovered.
Building area is different than front yard setback.
Correct.
Okay, so let's not mix the apples and oranges, because I want to follow you. I want to help you out and your client.
No problem.
So 1810 is proposed to the covered porch,
Correct.
and what is it to the second story, the new second story?
So it's both the first and second story. It's a new two-story. So to that it's 22 foot 10 and 3/4 on the left side. If you look at the left side of the site plan, 20 foot to 10 and 3/4 is to the actual house.
2210 is to the included. It's probably a cantilever, right?
No, it's to the second. There's a two-story house, and then forward of the house is a covered porch.
So, if I might, Mr. Pellegrini, chart, just tell me if this is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So the average front yard setback that is required is 27.65.
Correct.
What you currently have is 25 and 2 inches.
Correct.
What you're proposing at the closest point is 18, 10 and a half inches.
Correct.
Okay, those are our numbers for front yard. Go ahead.
Does this new two-story also affect the lot area occupied?
Correct.
How much?
Total, not in feet, percentage.
Just that two-story or everything in total? Because
You
that.
already gave us.
What?
You already gave us everything in
Okay,
total,
so
just the two-story extension.
So that is area D and G on the upper left corner in the building area calculation. So D is 180.98 square feet.
Percentage.
I have to figure that out percentage-wise, but it's minimal.
Well, actually, in going through your chart here, maybe we can simplify this. I had written down that you said your total lot area occupied request was 34.7%.
0.76.
Oh, yes, that's correct. In looking here at your chart that's on the plans, that's why I'm the only one who has it, because not everyone has a copy of it.
Oh.
The coverage, apparently, in the final analysis, it looks like the lot coverage total is 38.41 and that would be compared to the 30 allowable, because that's including the decking.
Correct.
Assuming the decking complies with what allows you to go to 30 from 27 and a half.
Correct.
So your total request is 38.41%.
Correct. Inclusive of the decking.
Correct. Where 30 with the decking is allowed.
Correct.
Right.
And then let's just do your side yard aggregate, just the numbers, and then you can explain whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So your side yard, apparently, let's see, what you're required on this property
It's
is
5.8.
17.4. Your existing is 13.45.
Mm-hmm.
Your proposed is 12.9.
Correct.
So you're requesting a side yard variance of that. Your side yard aggregate, let me see where you have it. You didn't add them together. Your required is 5.8 and 11.6. Your existing is 5.3 and a half and 8 1 inch. And you're proposing to go to 4 7 and a half inches and 8 1 inch. So leave one as it is and encroach on the other.
Right, but it is total together. It says under existing 3.45 and then 12.9. That's the aggregate.
Yeah, it's not on the one I'm looking at, but that's okay.
Under side yard, it doesn't have a line that says the aggregate on top?
Do you see it? On aggregate, I don't see them added.
Oh,
They're
it
written
says-
exactly how I read them, but we don't need to confuse it.
It's
We got
12.9.
them on
Right.
paper, Right?
Is that on the, whatever side? Is there basement stairs proposed, exterior basement steps?
Yes, at the rear.
Are those not part of this application?
No, they are.
Well, they're not on the plans, that's why.
Why would they not be in the?
On the floor plans, for example?
They're there on A100. At the rear, it shows a basement stair.
Are there two sets of basement stairs?
Just one, at the rear.
Okay, so I'm looking at the floor plan for the cellar. It's A00.0.
No, that's the existing house. A00 is the existing plans. A100, I think it's 2 or 3 pages later.
All right, well, what's DM100?
That's a demolition drawing, just showing what's being demolished. So A100 comes after DM.
Hold on, I'll get there. I don't want to miss it. Still don't see the stairs.
At the rear, it's on the back or on the top of the drawing here.
Look at this. We were trying to reconcile it with the site. We did that.
Stairs here, that's that, isn't it?
Yeah, but
But this is on the sidewalk.
yeah, Mr. Pellegrini was looking at them. What would be, if you're looking at the house on the left side, you show. This is the side of the approach.
This is what's on the plan.
That's the proposed rear. That's going up to the first floor entry to the side of the house.
That's not a basement stair.
Yeah, look at the floor plan.
Okay, relax. Is this proposed?
Yes, the proposed new side entrance into the side of the house.
And
It goes up
to the.
But it doesn't need relief.
It goes up to the first floor. It's an elevated first floor. A lot of the houses have that around in this area. But it's,
All right. And,
take a look on the first floor plan. I'll print it out.
no, I see it. I've read these for,
It's on this side.
no, I see it right there.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good.
Yeah. But that's not before us. We don't need relief for that.
No. Okay. This is not before us.
Wait, this is the side, this goes into the first floor, but this is the
A lot of stuff.
The basement entrance.
Question is, could this have been executed more neatly?
Sorry, everyone, for the confusion. The basement has a proposed playroom for the children. The homeowners have currently 4 boys, and the reason why I'm in front of the board today for the variance is right now they have the 4 bedrooms and all the living space on the first floor. When they started living here, they didn't have that many children. Now that the family's grown, they're seeking to add a second story, and in conjunction, go for the variance to do the bedrooms on the second floor, which will open up the first floor. Proposed for the seller specifically is a playroom, a separate chill area for the parents, separate from the kids, and then a home gym and a accessory bathroom to the home gym. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the building department application.
Is this in a flood zone?
No, it's not in the flood zone.
From the crown of the road, trying to look, looks like you, crown is at 6.18 and you're at 36.19.
The crown of the road is 6.18, and the ridge is at 36 point, so it's 30 feet. Yeah, the computer rounded it up.
They didn't kick it out for it, so.
There's something about this area where they have a lot of the houses raised up because they did like a split level landing. It's, I think, an 80s thing. I've come across in a bunch of houses where you walked up to a landing and then you walk down and up, which we wouldn't do nowadays in architecture. It's sort of counterintuitive to walk up to walk back down and up. But it was a period style, I think.
It was counterintuitive in the 70s as well.
But why did they do it?
Makes sense.
It's in
But,
style then.
I don't know.
do you have anything you'd like to add?
So going back to the request, so some of the requests are just because of the shape of the lot. We had a non-conforming aggregate side yard and minimum side yard, so we were triggering that no matter what we were going to do because any enlargement would be triggering that in the rear. In terms of the front, I think it's a minimal encroachment to the front. We were just trying to center the house and make a nice front elevation where currently there isn't anything aesthetically, wonderful about it, but we're trying to give a balanced look. So other than the encroachment to the front, that was to give a balanced facade, and the one to the rear, which would give them the additional space that they wanted to achieve for their second floor and first floor proposal. The 2 side yards, again, were not, and then the lot coverage is really the largest of the asks with the deck.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Flom, you and your clients will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Any opposed? All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Next, we have case 15023 through 15123 Baldwin. Rouvel's Pinard. Variances lot area occupied, side yard, maintain wood deck attached to dwelling, maintain pool deck and pool equipment with less than required side and rear yard setbacks, also known as 848 McKinley Street. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. State your name and address for the record.
Dennis Oliver, 924 Newbridge Road, Belmore, New York.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Chairman.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
Good.
Hope everyone else is
What can we do for you?
well. Stated Dennis Oliver, I'm the architect for Mr. and Mrs. Pineda, 848 McKinley Street, Baldwin, New York, whose case you're hearing this morning. We are seeking permission to maintain a wood deck attached to dwelling and around the pool, and maintain a pool and pool equipment with less than required side yard and rear yard. Should be important to note, my client bought this property about 3 years ago, and unfortunately, she was not aware that none of these items had permits until code enforcement came by and issued her a summons.
Mr. Oliver, real quick, I don't think is the pool already permitted? Because I have maintained pool deck and pool equipment, but I don't have maintained pool. Is the pool supposed to be before us also?
Pool's supposed to be before us also, I believe. Actually, I don't think the pool needs a variance. It's got a 4-foot side.
Yeah, that would be great. Good, okay. Dawn has informed us the pool doesn't need variance, so that makes me happy.
So as I was stating, we have to maintain the pool and the pool equipment. Now, the side yard required in our zone is 5 feet. We are proposing 6 inches to the deck. The rear yard required is 15 feet, and we are proposing 1 foot to the deck. The pool equipment on the side yard required is 3 feet. We are proposing 2 feet. The rear yard for the pool equipment is fine. That's 6 feet, so that's not an issue. It's just the side yard for that. Lot coverage comes into an issue because this property is non-conforming. It is only 4,000 square feet where 6,000 is required. Because of the size, our maximum allowed is 27.5%. We are proposing 38.1% total between the house and the deck and the shed that's on the property. Part of it is, but part of it isn't. So I think we kind of lose that. One part of the deck is 22 inches above grade, the other one's 46, so.
I think if you said it, I apologize. Just give us the rear, you need a rear yard also on the pool deck and equipment. Can you just give me the rear yard number?
The rear yard for the deck, we're proposing 1 foot where 15 feet is required. And the rear yard for the pool equipment is 6 feet where 3 feet is required. Now,
Say that one again?
for the filter, it's 6 feet proposing where 3 feet is required.
Okay, so you don't really need relief on that one, just on the deck. It's the way it's written here, it looks like you need it done on that too, but you don't.
I'd like to introduce, I have a letter signed by the 2 adjoining property owners, the ones most directly affected by what's happening here, stating that they have no objection to this variance being granted. If the board has any questions.
We'll accept the letters and evidence.
No, sir. No, I think if you're looking at the Google Earth, it was one of those blow-up pools that the kids splash around in. She has smaller, littler kids. Maybe that's what it is. Because I think I saw that too on the Google Earth. It looks like a hot tub, but it's not. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Oliver?
No, Mr. Regano.
Mr. Oliver, one question. This summons you said your client got, when's that court date? Is it coming up?
That I don't know. I did not ask them.
Well, either way, some of the cases, are decided today. You can call tomorrow, maybe after like 10 o'clock, and find out whether or not the case was decided. I assume you'll need that for this. A lawyer would want that for that proceeding.
Have any other questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed and matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Oliver, you will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's...
Second. All in favor?
Have a nice day.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have case 15223, West Hempstead, 67 Park Lane Holding Corp. Maintain detached garage with less than required side and rear yard setbacks, also known as 74 Pine Brook Avenue. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Melissa Graham. I'm from Long Island Perfect Permits. We are at 124 Front Street, Massapequa Park, 11762, and I am the agent representing the owner of 74 Pine Brook Avenue in West Hempstead. That is located at Section 35, Block 98, Lot 516. The application was filed to maintain a detached garage. The existing garage does not meet the required setback of 2 feet. The garage currently maintains a setback of 1.6 feet on the west side and 1.9 feet on the north side. The dwelling was built around 1930, and we estimate the garage was added about 50 years ago. My client purchased the home in March of 2022, and obtaining a garage permit was a condition of the open non-conforming permit, which will be closed out at the same time as the garage. We feel that the garage is not out of character for the neighborhood, and my client also asked that I mention that he did buy this home and clean it up. He does have a potential buyer, and the condition for buying the home is that the CO is issued by March 14th, so he did ask that this can be considered sooner rather than later if it is approved, so he can sell the home to the potential owners.
The lot looks very nice.
Yeah.
A lot of nice trees.
Nice. Looks deeper than 100 feet. Huh? If you look at the photos, it looks like it's huge. It's a big lot. Photos make it look like it's about 300 feet deep, and you can play football in that yard. It's only 100 feet.
I know.
Do you Photoshop it? Only kidding. Okay, you have anything else you'd like to add? Any other questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Graham, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Thank you.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have cases 15323 through 15423. North Belmore, Peter G. Lesto. Variances front yard setbacks on Beltall Avenue and Madison Avenue. Construct portico, roof over, and second-story cantilever all attached to dwelling. Variances side yard, install 2 AC units attached to dwelling, also known as 2571 Beltall Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, if I may speak on this case very, very briefly. There was an issue at first concerning notice requirement as there's a second-story addition that is also being included. I did my research and I found that the board still has jurisdiction as all relevant variances are mentioned in the notice. I would only make the recommendation that a motion be made to include construct second-story addition to the existing notice. Thank you.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we add the noted language to the notice and the proposal here today.
All in favor? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And let the record reflect, Mr. Jacobs, have you signed sworn in from earlier? Just your name and address again for the record.
Kurt Jacobs, architect, 201 Northwest Drive, Farmingdale, New York. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Peter Lesto has asked me to appear before you with his variance request. Mr. Lesto has lived in this dwelling since 1980. His wife, mother, and 2 stepchildren will be with him also. This is a corner house we are proposing to build on the front of the dwelling on Beltog Avenue and Madison Avenue. So we have front yard setback issues on both sides. Okay, the 1-story addition, roofed entry, and the proposed second floor addition has a 2-foot cantilever on the Beltog Avenue side. The setback to the second floor is 21.75 feet and 19.75 feet to the roofed entry. The average front yard setback on Beltog is 27.3 feet. We're trying to limit the front yard encroachment as much as possible, so the roofed entry is only 4 foot in depth, where most of the time they're either 5 or 6 foot. The actual setback to the original house is 24.68 feet, which already is 2.68 feet less than the average setback. Along Madison Avenue, we're proposing a partial 2-foot cantilever as part of the second floor construction, and a portico again, which is only 4 foot in depth. Also, the width of the house is 55 feet, with 60 foot required in a B zone.
I believe you meant the width of the lot, not the width of the house.
Yes, the width of the lot is 55 feet, which is 5 foot shy of the required 60 feet in a B zone.
And what, you're in C, did you say?
B zone.
B zone.
Okay, so that affects our setback issues in the front also with that 5 foot deficit. So the setbacks on Madison, the proposed setback to the second floor cantilever is 22.99 feet and 23.07 feet. The setback to the portico is 20.99 feet. The setback to the original house is 25 feet, and the average front yard setback on Madison is 28.2 feet. So again, the original house itself encroaches into the setback. We're proposing 2 central AC units in this side yard with an existing setback of 2.92 feet with 5 foot required. Mr. Lesto is a disabled Army veteran with various respiratory issues. There is currently mold and water damage in the house. The proposed renovation will greatly help Mr. Lesto to deal with his illnesses. I'd like to hand in 5 letters of consent, which include the rear yard abutting neighbor and all 5 and other neighbors across the street that would be in view of these improvements on the house.
We'll accept those in evidence.
That concludes our case.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on decision calendar. Mr. Jacobs will be notified by mail. The board's decision once it's rendered. And we noticed that you have no orange on today.
It's back there. I have my jacket. I'll model it for you before I go.
Do I have a second for that motion? Not the motion about the orange.
Okay. Well, if you want to include that, it's all right.
No.
Next, we have case 150. Oh, sorry.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? I have to wait. I'm looking at the next case. Franklin Square.
Next, we have case 15523, Franklin Square, Alfie Matahill. Variances, lot area occupied, construct 1-story addition attached to dwelling and with more than required rear yard encroachment, also known as 835 Princeton Road. Mr. Jacobs, I have you sworn in from earlier. Just again, your name and address for the record.
Kurt Jacobs, architect, 201 Northwest Drive, Farmingdale, New York. Again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Alfie Matahill has asked me to appear before you with his variance request. We're proposing to build a 1-story rear addition. He has 3 children and needs much more living space. He purchased this house from the estate of the prior original owners. They own the house since the house was built. The house is in original as-built condition and run down. I have 2 sheets of photographs to show the house from the exterior that shows it's the original construction.
We'll accept those in evidence.
Originally, the drafting service that I'm representing, that I'm doing this variance for, had told me that when they called the building department to find out what zone it was in, the building department told them Residence C. He got the rejection, and it's actually Residence B. Now, on the radius map, there's a line of demarcation between the Residence B zone and Residence C zone. He spoke to his clients and spoke about this, and they said they would prefer to go for the application the way it is now. It was essentially based on residency requirements. So I'll proceed. The rear addition proposed one-story increases the lot percentage to 34.9% with 27.5 maximum allowed. It increases the one-story permitted encroachment into the rear yard of 240 square feet. We're proposing 443 square feet. The rear yard setback we meet, which is the minimum allowed is 15 feet, and we are proposing that. In addition to this, Mr. Matterthill approached 4 contractors, and they all told him that going out was less expensive than going up. I'd like to hand in 4 consent letters, including the most affected rear yard neighbor, and then 3 other abutting neighbors. And as you can see from the photos, the house is quite run down, and this improvement will be an enhancement to increase property values and make the neighborhood much better looking. Thank you. Here's the letters of consent.
We'll take those in evidence.
And that concludes our case.
Pardon?
Mr. Jacobs, I'm a little confused by the language on this one. So I just, it's lot area occupied, construct a one-story addition to the attached to the dwelling with more than the required rear yard encroachment. Now, I understand the proposal's over 240 square feet, but I'm actually confused as to whether or not it's your understanding that you need, it doesn't encroach, it's setback 15, 15 is required. So is it your understanding that you need a rear yard setback variance or some other?
You need a variance because the amount of the encroachment into the 25-foot rear yard setback with the one-story addition, you're only allowed 240 square feet. We have, as I said, 443 square feet.
Okay, is it your understanding that a one-story rear yard is 15 or 25?
15 feet.
Okay, and your proposal is 15. So that was, I just, in 18 years doing this, I haven't seen that. So.
Well, again, this was an objection.
Yeah, no, I'm not being critical of you. I'm just trying to understand what information we need here to later deliberate on the case. So it's your understanding that you're not encroaching on the 15-foot allowable?
Correct.
But,
So why does
okay.
it need a rear yard then?
It's lot coverage allowed of the rear yard when you're proposing the addition. You're allowed to encroach into the square foot wise. You're allowed to encroach into the 25-foot setback, 240 square feet.
25-foot setback is the required rear yard. That's
right.
No,
the
no.
key word.
I thought we just established that it was 25 for the second level.
Right.
15 for the first level. And this is a single story, is that correct?
Yes, this is a single-story addition.
Okay, I guess we've got enough information on the record that we can figure it out.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Jacobs?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have any questions, any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Jacobs, again, you'll be notified by mail. The board's decision was.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All, any opposed, any abstentions? Patrick? Patrick, 138.
Next, we're going to second call, case 13823, Wantaw, Vincent Musillo. Variance, construct roof over porch with more than required front yard encroachment, also known as 40 Daffodil Lane.
Morning.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Chairman. I'm Frederick Zacchio, the agent for Vincent Musillo.
Could you hold on a second?
It's 95.
Thank you. I've got it. Ready? All right. Go ahead.
We're seeking approval for a non-conforming existing front yard encroachment for a one-story addition, a front covered patio, and a garage conversion.
May I ask you a question quickly? What is, I see it was adjourned a number of times. I don't recall why, so can you just brief us?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. It was adjourned?
Okay, give me a second.
What are you looking for? It's right here.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so the existing dwelling was built on a non-conforming front yard, and it was at 30.57 feet. The average front yard setback should be 36.71. Our proposed front yard now will be 25.92.
Go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying, it's a pre-existing non-conforming front yard. We're proposing the front covered patio, a front one-story entry foyer, and a garage conversion in the back.
Your one-story entrance is no closer than the current front of the house, correct?
It's aligned with the existing building.
So the,
Which is the non-conforming front yard.
and so what is the distance between the front covered patio and the front line, lot line?
25.92.
And what is the average front yard setback in that area?
It is 36.71.
77.1 square foot, one-story side addition. That does not create the need for a variance. Is that correct?
It's the covered patio,
Which is in front of that.
the addition, yes.
So again, the proposed 77.1 square foot, one-story side addition does not need any action of this board.
No.
Just that alone.
Well, it's in line with the existing building, which is encroaching into the front yard.
But the building was built like that.
Right.
It's a Levitt house.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Is it encroaching? Because when the chairman got those numbers from you, I thought you said that the required, didn't you say the required
36.
was 36 and change? And you're, and you're proposing 25, so you are encroaching. Okay,
To the
I'm sorry.
covered patio, it's 25.
The covered patio's in front of that
Yes, it's
one-story
encroaching
addition.
into the front yard.
So the covered patio is required to be there by permission of this board, is allowed to be there by permission of the board,
Okay.
right?
That's what we're here for, aren't
Yes.
we?
So, and that encroaches into the existing front yard.
Yes.
So you need a front yard setback to allow that portico or roofed over.
We're just trying to get the record made.
Porch.
We're not trying to be difficult.
Hmm.
The wording on this case is a little bit different than we usually have. So that we're
Okay.
just trying to adjust the record for the sake of all involved.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, that would be it. The purpose of the garage conversion was to add a bedroom for his daughter.
That is,
One other thing, there's one other person signed in. Okay, you're good with, you don't need to speak, right? Okay.
All he needs is a variance for that portico in the front. No, he doesn't want to speak.
no, they're all closed. Do I have any other questions from the board?
Move the hearing be closed. Matter be placed on the decision calendar. You and your client who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Do I have a
Thank you. Have a nice
second?
day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It's now 5 minutes to 11. I think we'll take a 15-minute break before we take the 9:30 adjournments.
That way we can allow for the court reporter to rest her
Stephanie
hands.
can
around. Oh, yeah? Any neighbors weigh in? No, I'm sure. What's funny is, they're going to this various house, they started this process like 6, 8 months ago. So they're looking at another property to move the entire school over to. Oh, so the temporary. So
see everyone. I remember once I bumped into you I remember bumping into you a while back in a doctor's office. You had an elbow injury or something? So, yeah. Yeah. I had 14 surgeries. I had a car accident. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Shoulders 5 times. I was there for a torn meniscus. Okay. Next, we have case 9522, Belmore, Sarah Augusto. Special exception to maintain accessory structure, pavilion with storage, kitchen, and fireplace, higher and larger than permitted and exceeds horizontal maximum on both sides, with lot area occupied variance, also known as 2764 Nata Boulevard. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, my name is Melissa Graham. I'm from Long Island Perfect Permits, 124 Front Street, Massapequa Park, 11762. I'm the agent representing Sarah Augusto. She's the owner of 2764 Nata Boulevard in Belmore. It is located at Section 56, Block 405, Lot 614, and this property is in a Residence B zone. The application was filed to construct a cabana. We presented the case before the board. Our client had built the cabana prior to the permit being issued, so we resubmitted as-built plans and received approval for the now existing cabana. We originally presented this case last April as proposed, and then it was built. So we are here before you to maintain what was built. The cabana exceeds the horizontal maximum of 12 feet. The existing cabana is 18 feet wide and 36 feet in length. The cabana also exceeds the maximum allowed height of 12 feet. The existing height is 13 feet 10 inches. The cabana also exceeds the maximum square footage allowed of 144 square feet. The cabana maintains 648 square feet. My clients moved into the house in 2017. And instead of relocating, they've decided to make their backyard somewhere where they can have their friends and family over. That's the cabana. Mm-hmm. Well, their architect calls it a pavilion, but it's a pavilion or a cabana.
Okay, so can you, now that I just want to ask a couple things.
Sure.
Why was it adjourned so many times?
The issue is that it was originally put through as proposed, and then it was approved as proposed, and then the board went past to check on fencing. When the board went past to check on fencing, they noticed that it had already been built. We were not aware of that. So we had to get as-built plans, and then as we did as-built plans, there was also changes to the pool permit. So the constant changes and the updating of the plans and then having the plans examiners review and deny took that long.
This was
5
already
times?
approved?
The original proposal was approved.
The same size?
It was actually, I believe, a foot bigger, like longer. They shortened it.
With the storage, the kitchen, the fireplace, and the, all of the same accoutrements?
Right. Well, we presented the case, and then we were just told that you guys were going to go and check on the fencing. You were concerned about the fencing for the pool, and then when you went past the property for the fencing, you noticed.
No, but my question is, was the prior approval, did it include all of the things that are
It was
now-
never like I'm sorry, it was never officially approved. There was no feedback from the board asking for anything, just saying that you were going to check on the fence.
Okay, how much of this, now I'm looking at the plans, they don't really have the normal, oh, yeah, they do, I'm sorry. It's A00200, 2.00. And that shows a small changing room, a small storage room. The rest of it is the, I guess, what's the outdoor kitchen, but it has the gas grill, a griddle with a hood, a grill, it looks like two stovetop burners, a refrigerator, an ice machine, a sink, basically a full kitchen. But it's predominantly an open structure. Is that accurately how it is?
That is correct.
Okay, and there's no portion, I can't see through this the way the plans show. Yeah, that's not what the plans show. Right,
Is it just a roofed over, or is it closed in the back? And
it looks like it's closed in the back in the photograph.
Part of it's closed in the back.
Yeah, because the plans are showing the only part you can't see through is that little end section with the changing room and the storage. And
Right, the whole other side is the kitchen, that's all open.
do you have the plans in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, except why does that show it like that?
That's a front view.
Yeah, and
It's a front
it's not showing anything. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know how you pick that, but, okay.
Pardon me?
No.
If you look at, based on the picture, this part and this part is open, and then it's this side right
Nope.
here.
Yeah, I can see the picture, but
Photo.
It has like, the kitchen, it gives you the impression that it's closed, but because of how dark it is, but that's just like the counter, where like the barbecue and stuff
yeah,
is.
well,
So it's open.
Would you like to approach for a second? The front elevation.
so see this front elevation?
The front elevation.
It doesn't show any walls. I can see all the way through.
Okay, yeah.
That's why.
really a wall, it's the counter.
That looks like more than a
I can
counter.
see no daylight through there. Can you?
She's talking about this.
Let the record reflect that the applicant's representative, Ms. Graham, was shown, and we attempted to reconcile what appeared to be a difference, at least from my view, of the front elevation shown on the plans, A2.00, compared with the photograph in the file, which was received by the Board of Appeals on the May 18th of 2022, and case number 95 contained in the file. So that's just something we'll have to figure out. But so what, if I might, unless someone else has a question, if I might go back to, it was approved, but it wasn't approved. So you came in, the case was presented, right? Someone went out to check the fence, presumably because of the pool, because we often do that to make sure it's safely enclosed while the case is pending. And then that led to the discovery that it should have been maintained rather than a construct. And then you redid the plan several times. But the pool's not before us right now.
No,
So when you said that,
already permitted, and
oh, because when you,
Still open.
it's still open because we're waiting on this to close everything together.
I just, since the pool isn't part of this case, I wasn't sure how that was one of the reasons it kept getting adjourned, but I guess it was just you kept thinking it would be ready sooner and it wasn't.
Well, the pool, part of it was the pool, they added a water feature to the pool, and the board did, the BZA did want to wait to see if the water feature would need a variance, but it
Okay.
did not.
Okay, and do we have the prior, in this file, the prior application that was before the board? That was,
Should have everything correct.
okay, so we can just sort of compare the two.
Yes.
And if we were to consider this application, I'm pretty confident that one or more board members would also want to condition it, that it would never be enclosed any further than it is at this point. And also, I think, to the extent that we need to, if we do need to update this plan to show the back wall, if I'll let others who know this better than I, then we may need you to do that.
That's fine.
And
We
there's
also have pictures here, not to interrupt you, that clearly show the back wall, if you want to just put them in for your knowledge.
I think we have those.
You have these, it's a different view,
Can
Okay.
we
just
see
in
them?
case.
We have it. Yeah, they're the black and white photos.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Okay, just want to make sure you have everything.
Did you address the lot area occupied variance? Did you address that?
Yes.
What is the lot area occupied? What is it? Because I apologize, but I may have missed it.
The cabana is 648 square feet.
Right, the lot area
She
occupied.
didn't address it.
Oh, no,
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't have that.
Is it resident B
Oh,
zone?
lot area is 28.8%, where 27.5 is required.
Did you say 28?
28.8. Sorry.
Be hearing well today. I thought she said 20.
No.
And the small section labeled storage, have you been in there?
I have not.
So
Do you know whether or not there's any heat in that
I guarantee you.
section?
Don't know.
Because they have gas grills and everything all plumbed out here, and sinks. They have plumbing, refrigerators. They have plumbing and power and everything out here, and gas. See, permits required for plumb and gas appliances. So we don't know, it's not put down, that would, I would have thought that was a bathroom, to be perfectly honest, but it's not marked as such. But since there's all the plumbing out there, I guess.
I haven't been told that it's a bathroom. I was told it was just for storage for the pool.
Is that your case?
Yes.
Any other questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Graham, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have cases 7523 through 7623, Wantaw, James O'Connor, and Tara Meany. Variances, front yard average setback, construct addition, second-story addition, portico, and cantilever, all attached to dwelling. Special exception to maintain accessory structure, shed, higher than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum and with less than required side yard, also known as 270 Duck Pond Drive South. Mr. Jacobs, we still have you sworn in from earlier this morning. Just your name and address for the record.
Kurt Jacobs, architect, 201 Northwest Drive, Farmingdale, New York. This was basically adjourned. I presented the case to the board, and then we noticed that the second floor was never mentioned in the notice sent to the neighbors. It just said cantilever without the second floor, and the board requested that the mailing should be redone with the second floor added, and that's what we did. So I'll outline the presentation again.
Mr. Jacobs, do you want to make a motion that we incorporate all the prior testimony in this case?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So move.
This is a Levitt-style house, so there's no basement, so the shed is definitely needed. It has a side yard setback of 1.4 feet with 2 feet required. It has a 12.2-foot length, where 12 foot is the maximum, and the height is 9.5 feet with 9 foot maximum allowed. With the construction of the second floor, the house has an average front yard setback of 33.64 feet. We are proposing to the portico 25.7 feet. There's 2 front yard cantilevers, one's 2 foot and one's 1 foot. So to the cantilevers, 2 foot cantilever is 28.7 feet, to the 1 foot cantilever is 29.7 feet. The actual original house, the setback is 30.7 feet, so that the actual house encroaches into the average front yard setback approximately 3 feet. So again, that's our case, and there hasn't been any issue with the neighbors, and that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Jacobs, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Jacobs.
That Franklin Square case you had earlier, was that a residence B or C?
Testimony's closed on that. Patrick?
Okay. Next, we have cases 11223 through 11323, Levittown. Richard Fama, Jennifer Weingart, and William Weingart. Variance, side yards aggregate, construct second-story addition, and convert existing garage to living space. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached dwelling, also known as 92 Woodcock Lane. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
What do we have? Hold.
Louis Trentadue, 32 Design Studio, 133 Lincoln Avenue, Pelham, New York.
Just a minute.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you, everyone, Chairman of the Board and all members, for having us here today. This hearing was adjourned from February 15th due to travel arrangements I had that were a prior obligation. We're here representing the interest. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a minute.
I apologize. I obviously had too much coffee.
Okay. Thank you. Down there. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Representing the interest of Mr. and Mrs. Rick and Jen Fama. Jen goes by her maiden name of Weingart. It also includes the interests of Jen's brother who lives in the dwelling. His name is Will Weingart. We are here today representing them today for two variances for two separate projects that are simultaneously in occurrence. One is for the legalization of an existing AC unit that we picked up on when we were hired to design the job, and in doing a record search we learned that there was no permit for that AC. The AC encroaches into the side yard of the dwelling by 4.5 feet, whereas the AC encroaches by 4 feet, whereas the minimum required would have been 5 feet, 6 feet.
Wait, does it maintain or encroach by that amount?
It's a maintain.
No, does the side yard require 5? What-
6.
Okay, 6.
Yeah, excuse me, it was 6, I misspoke.
Okay, 6, so what is it providing?
We are expected to have a distance of 5 feet or less, and we only have 4 feet. So it's encroaching by 1 foot.
Yeah, they were saying it was encroaching by 4, that's why I was trying to clarify.
Oh, my apologies. Okay. As I mentioned, this is an existing unit. There were other items on the property that we learned did not have permits. Those include the fences and gate that cover both side yards. Those have been separately permitted. Additionally, they retained us to design a garage conversion and a second-story bedroom suite. And in working with the building department, even though the garage was attached to the dwelling, we learned that because the garage was not original to the dwelling, the garage was built in 1972, the build straight up ruling that would have otherwise worked in their favor would not apply. So for that reason, we are requesting a variance side yard aggregate relief request in regard to the application for the proposed construction, which in this instance includes the garage conversion, a second-story addition that will be built above that garage. There's also a front 30-square-foot porch. We don't need front yard variances or lot coverage variances. The lot coverage is well below the minimum of the 30% maximum allowable. The dwelling is actually set farther back than most of the dwellings on the street. The home currently has one existing bathroom on the first floor and one existing bathroom on the second floor. It's a Levitt home, so there is no basement. The proposed bathrooms will be still one bathroom on the first floor and 2 bathrooms on the second floor because we're creating 1 new bathroom. The existing bedrooms on the first floor are none. On the third floor are 3. The proposed bedrooms will be none on the first floor and only 2 on the second floor. The reason why we're proposing only 2 is because the house was left to Jen and her brother Will, the Weingarts, from their mother who passed away nearly 10 years ago, and their relationship is wonderful. They don't want to move away from each other. They're not sure what their long-term plans are in terms of who will move out first. Jen's husband, Rick, as I mentioned, also lives at the home. Jen and Rick had a baby who I believe is maybe 2 or 3 months old. They get along perfectly. However, they want to still all stay together. No plans to ever do another kitchen or something like that. It's a perfect family harmony, if you will. The other point I want to make is I did discuss with them whether or not they'd like to maybe change some of the interior of the second story to be additional bedrooms. And at this time, they do not feel they need to do so, but they had the understanding that if this were something they'd want to do, we would address it as an amendment with the building department, or if the building department felt the need to do so, it would be filed for as a separate permit. On the second story, there is an existing space that looks down onto the living room space. It's literally a 2-story height living room space. So it was deemed that they like the area that's on the second story in the back right corner of the home. They currently use it as an exercise area, and they don't think that they want to convert it to a bedroom anytime soon. So again, that's why it was left out of the cards. They said that they had no opposition from anyone in the neighborhood about the project. I offered that they could get consent letters. They said that they weren't, they don't really know the neighbors that well because they said it's their opinion that the neighbors rent the homes to the left and right of them, and they said they just don't have a relationship with them. To the best of my knowledge, they are looking to do this as soon as possible because of the birth of their child. They originally had planned to take the master bedroom that would be above the garage, but it may now go to the brother, Will, who lives in the home, because they didn't really, they weren't expecting a baby when I started working with them.
But Mr. Trentadue, just to cut to the chase, what this boils down to is side yard aggregate and a side yard variance. The AC is 4 instead of 6. Your aggregate that you propose is 12 versus whatever the percentage is, in your case, since it's a 60-foot width. And that's to maintain the AC and put a bedroom and legalize a garage.
Yes.
Okay.
I was just explaining because I thought, I figured it would look odd that we were taking away bedrooms, so, okay.
I have any questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Trentadue be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you. Sorry, you had to wait.
Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you. I'll probably see you in a couple of months. Thank you.
Okay.
That concludes the morning calendar. No, I said that concludes the morning calendar. All right. Sir, are you here on a case, sir?
That one? with
This
Mr.
case?
Trentadue?
Oh,
With Mr. Trentadue?
you have to come up. You didn't sign in. I don't believe you signed in.
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my motion to close the matter. Mr. Trentadue, you'll need to stay around too, as it relates to case 112 and 113 of 2023 in Levittown. This gentleman was here.
This gentleman is in opposition. He's in opposition.
No, he was here on the case.
Okay. Okay.
Have a seat.
Yes.
Sir, you sit over on that side if you would. No.
No.
Just
Right
there.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No more social distancing.
Can we have your name and address? Was you sworn in? No. Yeah, pull out. You better pull out the radius map. I don't think we had enough.
Hi, this is Milan Sataria. I live in 94 Woodcock Lane, Levittown.
What's the address, sir? I'm sorry.
94 Woodcock Lane. And
Get us
no, I'm just on the side of the garage where the addition is being.
on the side by the garage?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
There. Okay, why don't you tell us what you want us to hear about this case?
So my request to the board is that the distance between the two houses is quite less, and I would request that if the additions be done, then that would further reduce the sunlight as well as the privacy that the two families maintain. I'm very happy with the relationships we have. Like, we don't interact much with the neighbors and all. They are quiet, and they had a child. Congratulations on that. Otherwise, we don't have any other things. It's just the privacy and the reduced sunlight concern that.
Do you live in that? You live in 82 Woodcock?
It's 94 Woodcock.
94 Woodcock.
And
You reside there?
Yes. I own the property.
You what?
I own the property.
Do you reside there also?
Yes.
And your issue is that the second story, they're not proposing to go closer to your house, but they're proposing to put a level on top of that garage. And that's your opposition to that because of the light and the privacy. How close is your house to the?
So the way the house, my house is it's a little not leaning, I don't have the proper words, but it's closer towards their side of the garage. There is more room on this side. I haven't measured it. Probably it would be 6
feet from your house wall to your property line that shares with them.
There's a fence.
Pardon me?
There's a fence downstairs.
All right, so you probably both houses, this one is 6 feet from the property line, so you think it's about the same, guessing.
About 12 feet apart.
Is your house 1 story or 2?
Colonial?
I don't know. What?
Must be.
Just wanted to see if there was any photographs that include your house. Yeah, and there's, besides the fence, is there a big hedge between the houses, or no?
There,
How tall is it? Approximately.
would I be able to speak, or? There are trees, evergreens on the dividing property line.
Approximately how high?
I have a photograph of them. They're actually in the photo package we have provided. They appear to be maybe 9 to 10 feet high.
I can see them in part, but I can't see the top of them.
Yeah. Also want to point out, and this was only by design virtue, that originally we were planning to have a side door to access the first-story living area. And I said, well, we don't want to do that because it's going to look like it could be an apartment, which we didn't want. But it also, it ruined the furniture layout because the room wasn't that large. We originally proposed to go forward another 4.5 feet, but we didn't do that either. There is a door in the side yard, but it's only for the utility room to access the boiler room.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No, that should be all.
Subject property, where they want to
Yeah, I got it. Well,
That's his house. His
Yeah,
house.
yeah. Uh-huh.
You get.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Do I have a, do you want to make a motion? Any
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Trent, you and sir, you, having signed in, will also receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? That concludes the morning calendar again. We'll take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and do decisions, hopefully.
told Randy earlier this week that I'll work on it, but he just called me again to tell me about that because he needs to have it updated in the building department. So I just need a photo of that one. So maybe have David out to send me a photo of the roof ringing that was being adjusted. I'll take care of it on this. Okay?
Case number 136 of 23 in Oceanside. 2860 Oceanside LLC, renewal of a grant to maintain illuminated double-faced detached pylon ground side sign. Overall size 120 square feet, 60 square feet per face. Overall height 18 feet 10 inches, setback 7 feet from Long Beach Road. Property address is 2860 Long Beach Road. Do I have any comments? Any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 136 of 23 in Oceanside, 2860 Oceanside LLC at 2860 Long Beach Road be approved as requested with normal sign conditions.
Second.
Normal sign, yeah. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, next case, 13723 Franklin Square, Franklin Square Plaza LLC, Franklin Plaza LLC. Renewal of a grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated monument sign setback 9 feet from property line. Property address is 179 New Hyde Park Road in Franklin Square. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that case 137 of 2023, as you've described it in Franklin Square, be approved as requested.
Do I have a second?
Same 5 years, same conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case, 138-23, Vincent Musillo. Variance, construct roof over porch with more than required front yard encroachment. Property address is 40 Daffodil Lane in Wantor. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 138 of 2023, Vincent Masulo, be granted as requested.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case is 139 and 140 of 2023 near Malvern. Mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, variance, side yard maintained, 2 AC units attached to dwelling. Do I have a discussion? If not, do I have a motion? Property address is 1206. I'm sorry, I apologize. Property address is 1206 Dogwood Avenue.
I move cases 139 and 140 of 2023, located at 1206 Dogwood Avenue near Malvern, be granted as requested with all mother-daughter conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case, 141 of 2023, Daniel and Toby Schaefer. Variances, side yard aggregate, construct 2-story additions attached to dwelling. Property address is 693 Norwood Drive in West Hempstead. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 141 of 23 in West Hempstead, Daniel and Toby Schaefer at 693 Norwood Drive be approved as requested. Close out all open permits.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Immediate family residence, second kitchen. Property address is 411 Whittier Avenue in Levittown. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move as relates to case 142 of 2023 in Levittown, as you've previously described it, affecting the property at 411 Whittier Avenue, be approved as requested. Usual mother-daughter immediate family conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case, 143 of 2023, Prem Vera Valley. Variance, side yard aggregate, construct second floor addition attached to dwelling. Property address is 29 Harvest Lane in Levittown. Do I have any discussion? And if not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 143 of 2023, located at 29 Harvest Lane in Levittown, be granted as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next cases, 144 through 147 of 2023, Kevin and Maureen Doyle. Variance, lot area occupied, construct roof over open porch attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain trellis attached to dwelling. Maintain pool equipment not permitted in the side yard with less than required side yard setback. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached to dwelling. Property address is 2991 Mandalay Beach Road in Wantua. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move cases 144, 145, 146, and 147 of 2023, all located at 2991 Mandalay Beach Road, Wantua, be granted as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next case, 148 of 2023, Megan Rutner, David J. Muscat. Variance, front yard setback on Jefferson Street, construct a deck with stairs attached to dwelling. Property address is 679 Euclid Avenue in West Hempstead. That case has been adjourned to April 26th at 9:30.
Yes.
Right. Case.
Yeah, they changed it. Yep.
Yeah, that was changed. Case 149 of 2023 near Valley Stream, Brian Baruch Reeves and Riva Reeves. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yard aggregate, rear yard, construct two-story additions, roofed over porch and wood deck. Property address is 592 Prescott Place near Valley Stream. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 149 of 23 near Valley Stream, Brian Reese and Riva Reese, located at 592 Prescott Place, be approved as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Next cases, 150 and 151 of 2023, Ruvelsi Pineda. Variances, lot area occupied, side yard, maintain wood deck attached to dwelling, maintain pool deck and equipment with less than required side yard and rear yard setbacks. Property address is 848 McKinley Street in Baldwin. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion as it relates to case 150 of 2023 and 151 of 2023 in Baldwin, as you previously described them, affecting the property to 848 McKinley Street in Baldwin, that they be approved as requested, usual pool and deck conditions.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Next case, 152 of 2023, 67 Park Lane Holding Court. Maintain detached garage with less than required side and rear yard setbacks. Property address, 74 Pinebrook Avenue in West Hempstead. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 152 of 2023, 67 Park Lane Holding Corp. At 74 Pinebrook Avenue in West Hempstead be granted as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Next cases, 153 and 154 of 2023, Peter G. Lesto. Variances, front yard setback on Belti Avenue and Madison Avenue. Construct a portico, roof over, and second-story cantilever, all attached to dwelling. Variances, side yard. Installed 2 AC units attached to dwelling. Property addresses 2571 Beltaw Avenue in North Belmore. Do I have any discussion? If not, have any discussion?
Chairman, well, I'm going to make the motion, but also with respect to this, there should be an amended caption. There should be a second-story addition added to the caption, which is listed.
It's just because it says second-story cantilever, but but we discussed earlier with council to add,
Second-story
to
addition.
further explain. Yeah. I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't make the motion.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, 153 through, I move 153 through 154 of 2023, located at 2571 Beltaw Avenue, North Belmore, be granted as requested with the amended caption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Seconding the.
All right, next case, 155 of 2023. Variances, lot area occupied, construct one-story addition attached to dwelling and with more than required rear yard encroachment. Any discussion? Any confusion?
I could go go look at that.
plenty of confusion.
I'll look at it. No? Okay, no. Good, let's go. Because there were 4 letters of consent in that, so.
Do I have a motion?
I do. I make a motion that 155 of 23 in Franklin Square, Alfie Matato Hill, at 835 Princeton Road, be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Next case, 95 of 2022, special exception to maintain accessory structure, pavilion with storage, kitchen and fireplace higher and larger than permitted and exceeds horizontal maximum on both sides with lot area occupied variance. This case was adjourned several times. Do I have any discussion?
I'm just wondering, I mean, it's very large relative to what's allowed. I thought the plans were a little misleading in that they appeared to show it basically as a roof over little area to barbecue, but it's got gas, plumbing, lighting, I'm sure heat. And on one hand, I think maybe someone should take a look at it. We had photos, maybe it's unnecessary. I question if we should get, maybe council can decide if we need to get a more accurate plan. Maybe we don't. And at the very least, if we're inclined to grant this, I think it should be with a condition that it never be enclosed any further, and that we maybe make it temporary so that we actually have a check, like so the building inspector goes out every 5 years. And frankly, I don't care if it's every 10 years, if that makes any sense, but I'm just thinking that keep honest people honest, or if they sell it, the next people buy it don't know, and all of a sudden they enclose it and make a whole another living quarters.
What would you like to do? Would you like to
I'd
hold
like to
it,
hear what other
or-
people have to say.
My opinion is I think a temporary grant would be good to keep control over it, and that it shall not be enclosed any further.
And no heat installed.
No heat installed.
If it's not already. And maybe we should condition no bathroom, because that storage area looks like a prime spot to put a bathroom. They've already got plumbing in there and gas in there and power.
For heat, should I say that heat shall be removed if installed?
Yes.
Shall not be installed?
Yep.
Or should I say if it's already installed, it's okay?
No. No, it's storage space.
Okay, so my
You don't
motion,
need heat
okay.
in the storage space.
So I would make a motion, I'm not sure it requires a motion. Help me out. I'm thinking that we can have council maybe prepare a draft grant that, with the conditions that we think keep it as it is and don't allow it to,
And make it temporary.
and make it
5 years?
temporary. That way, because people sell the house. Okay, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
No bathroom.
Draft grant.
Okay.
Cases 75 and 76 of 2023, James O'Connor and Taramini. Variances, front yard average setback, construct addition, second-story addition, portico and cantilever, all attached to dwelling. Special exception to maintain accessory structure is shed higher than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum and with less than required side yard. Do I have any discussion? If not, can I please have a motion?
I move that case 75 and 76 of 2023, James O'Connor and Taramini at 270 Duck Pond Drive South in Wantagh be granted as requested.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Case 77 of 2023, Richard Tonino, variance, lot area occupied, construct second-story addition with roof over porch, attached dwelling. Property address is 332 Kensington Road South, has been adjourned to March 15th at 2 p.m. Cases 112 and 113 of 2023, Levittown, Richard Farmer, Jennifer Weingart, and William Weingart. Variance, side yard aggregate, construct second-story addition and convert existing garage to living space. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached to dwelling. Property addresses 92 Woodcock Lane in Levittown. Do I have any discussion since there was opposition?
I would just say, in looking at the materials, I know the rest of us looked at it too, and I was also shown by the secretary to the board, not only, there's a fence, the neighbor testified there was a fence, not only was a fence, there was testimony, and there were satellite images of the large, approximately 10-foot high living fence hedge between the two houses that was confirmed by the litigants who were here. The houses are set about the same distance from the property line, 6 feet each. The neighbor's house is in fact 2 stories at that location. So I don't see a basis for denying the applicant to do the same thing above the garage that exists, and he's not further encroaching into the side yard. So I think it's, we should allow it because it's consistent with the neighbor who was here in, I guess, somewhat opposition.
I think the living fence provides quite a bit of privacy. Do you want to add a condition that the living fence be maintained by at least on their side, by the property owner? I believe there was a tree there, too.
I don't know whose it was. I thought there was a tree also. I don't know who owns the living fence. But, I mean, I don't see anyone taking it down anyway.
Okay. All right.
The applicant wants what the neighbor has. The neighbor.
Yeah.
So I would then, Mr. Chairman, make a motion as it relates to 112, 2023, and 113 of 2023 Levittown, as you've previously described it, affecting the property at 92 Woodstock Lane, be approved as requested.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That concludes the regular morning calendar. Do we have anything on the reserved decision calendar?
The first thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is case number 97 of 23 on page 1 concerning the property in Franklin Square. Town of Hempstead Housing Authority. I provided the board with a draft decision after our comments at the last hearing, the majority of which concerned fencing. There should be a 6-foot fence around the entire perimeter of the property. A living fence shall be provided on all property lines bordering residential areas, so that excludes the county line that runs behind it, that's vacated space. All individuals that are utilizing the property shall be directed to utilize off-street parking before on-street parking. There should only be one ingress and egress on Martha Place. All other bordering side streets shall be fenced off. I believe I have some other conditions in there that are just general to lighting in general as well, if you want to look at a copy of the decision, but that's the majority.
And we, as it relates to the living fence, I think we need not 6 feet, like we need to.
No, sorry. There's a 6-foot chain link, and then also a 15-foot minimum living fence, no less than 5 feet spaced apart on all areas that border residential areas.
Now, do we need to then, when we say minimum 15 feet, do we need to also at this time grant further height? So if they put it in at 15 feet and 3 years from now it's 19 feet high, do we want them to have an ongoing grant to grow it high?
Yeah, so the condition says no less than 15?
Right, but do we have to grant, like we say no less than 15, they put it 15, and 10 years from now someone goes, hey, that's 25, you don't have a grant for a 25-foot fence or hedge.
We can say that applicant, I can add a sentence that says applicant is permitted to go for the fence to be as high as X height or in perpetuity.
I just think we should just, a general grant to say no less than 15 feet and just let them grow it. Unless it becomes unsafe.
And
Like its own renewable grant, in a way, for whatever the height is. Because the idea here is the neighborhood wants those trees.
Yeah, so the condition is a living fence of no less than 15 feet shall be installed along the perimeter of the parcel on all property lines bordering a residential parcel. Each tree, arborvitae's, bush, or any other greenery utilized to constitute this fence shall be planted no further than 5 feet away from each other. This condition shall not apply to the ingress and egress located on Martha Place.
And this condition shall, can we make like a run with the land idea, like
oh, okay,
a grant to keep growing it higher without having someone all of a sudden get mad and call and say they don't have the right to put a 25-foot tree?
Absolutely.
It's not a general language.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I can add that to the end of the sentence.
Be entitled to allow this living fence to grow to any height that is not not unsafe.
Doesn't present a safety hazard as determined by whoever.
That shall be an ongoing grant. Like they never have to come back for that.
Not a problem.
so are we going to adopt the decision as amended?
If that's what the board, also there was one other change as well. It is 104 units. I put 107. I already made that edit. It's 104 units.
Yep.
You want me to make the motion?
You should make the motion.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, as it relates to case 97 of 2023 Franklin Square, the Town of Hempstead Housing Authority, affecting the property at 1170 Martha Place. I would first make a motion that based on the materials in the file, testimony at the hearing, and other analysis done by the Department of Buildings at the Town of Hempstead, that the board adopt a negative declaration as to the CEQA determination.
Second? All in favor?
Aye. In addition, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion as it relates to case 97 of 2023 in Franklin Square. Again, as you previously described it, 1170 Martin Place in Franklin Square, that the board grant and adopt the decision prepared by council of the board and reviewed by members of the board.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next. Did the building department get into the basement of any of the other?
So the building department has been out. They were in the basement of some of them. They haven't been in the basement of this subject property yet, but they have summons the parcel that had they had the kitchen, they had the mattresses, they were out there and they summoned them.
Okay.
Did they issue any summonses to any of the other occupants?
No.
No.
It was only.
So that may have been the only.
That's the only one. That's one of the only ones that let them in. There was only two subject properties that let them actually in.
So there were about.
There was, I think, about 4 or 5. I think there's. Yeah, I think there's 7 or so storefronts.
So wait, is this summons issued to the tenant or to the landlord or both?
No, it gets issued to the landlord.
So the landlord got a summons for one of the 7, 8, whatever places, and the tenants of the others will not allow the building department.
Okay.
Correct.
So I think, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to say the same thing. You're going to notify the landlord that he should speak to his tenants and let the building department in all, I mean, can they issue a violation if he fails to do that? He's the landlord.
Mail and mail?
And I want to hold this until it's done, because.
And we're not just going to hold this idly. We need this safety issue and this
To be
disaster
resolved.
cleaned
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So they've already been provided with notice. We have to provide the landlord with notice before that they can go in.
Yeah.
I guess notice has already been provided at this point, so we should be able to.
Yeah.
Right.
And will that
And if he does not succeed in getting the tenants, I mean, he's the enforcement tool. Let's face it. So, I mean, do we tell him that he's going to get additional violations if he fails to allow the building department to go in the basements? I think you should tell him that.
We're going to pursue all avenues of getting, we are not only just going to just hold this on reserve, we are going to actively monitor it and continue to send out the building department, and whatever other avenues the town of Hempstead can pursue, we're going to attempt to do so until we know that there are no illegal occupancies, no safety issues like people living in the basement or having massage in the basement or any of the rest of it, including any other illegal conduct taking place on premises, right? He needs to know. He's got an obligation to clean it. I don't know if his lease agreements, I'm sure that the towns would preempt, wouldn't we override any lease agreement that says, like his tenant with his tenant saying, oh, you can't come in my place, you can't let anyone in my place.
Well, in most commercial leases, such as these, there's probably going to be a clause, Joanne, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we have specific clauses that state you can't have any living space. It's commercial.
Yeah,
you can't live there. And he should enforce that provision in the lease.
Among others. But I'm wondering if well, it's his problem. If his lease doesn't allow him to enter the premises if a government agency is requiring it.
Can always
that's
enter.
what I would think.
In the event, call it an emergency, call it whatever you want, but even the standard form commercial leases have that.
And especially when the town is demanding.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to get whoever, like here, if what we need to do is get the landlord that demand so that he can use that to overcome any lease objections, then we should do that.
Okay.
Because we need to get this solved.
All right. Anything else on the reserve calendar? Go ahead.
107 and 108, their property there at Seaford.
We're listening.
Well,
Go ahead.
turn the only thing I would say about it is that's third-story balcony. I would like it to remain as open space and not ever be enclosed as living space.
And otherwise, it's okay?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion? I think you just made one. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
You got that, Mr. Vogel, what you
I
said?
do. Yeah, third-story balcony shall remain open and shall not be converted into living space.
What are we doing on 22 of 23?
Yes.
Mr. Regano, may I interrupt? Before,
Certainly.
on the February 15th hearing, I was not present at the board hearing, but I watched the entire live stream, understood everything that was said, and am quite familiar with those cases that were heard on February 15th.
Thank you.
And yeah, and for that reason, Mr. Pellegrini would be more than qualified to vote on anything in which he was not present for, as long as he reviewed it. Yeah, so this case, if the board recalls, we voted to approve it the next day, even though the Nassau County Planning Commission received it more than 30 days prior. Technically, it would be considered a local determination if it's not 30 days. However, we work closely with the NCPC. We decided to reopen the matter for further testimony so that Bill can explain as to why the NCPC might be off in their interpretation. And we put it on reserve for one more time because we needed a supermajority in order to overturn any sort of NCPC determination.
Which we have today.
Which we do have today, correct?
So in light of that, can we have a motion on this case?
I move case 22 of 2023, located at 443 Hempstead Turnpike in Elmont, be granted as requested.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And we had approved it previously.
Any opposed?
right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they reduced the size of it. Anything on the referral?
First, I have the extensions of time.
Okay.
One case,
All right.
case number 824 of 23, Eric Taub, concerning property in Woodmere, New York. It was granted on 12/14/22 for a lot area occupied variance. They said they need time to find a contractor. I think that would have been something.
Obviously, it's not likely that anything's changed in the character of the community. The application hasn't changed, and it's just to secure a permit. So obviously, there's no construction debris we have to worry about, right? No, Joe, you're a motion guy. Come on.
I move that we grant case number 824 of 2022 a one-year extension of time to secure the permit and get their contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Okay, the second case I have is a hearing request from Shmuel Flom, concerning property at 917 Cliffside Avenue, case number 16, 2023. The request is, we denied it. It was for lot area occupied and for front yard average
Wait,
setback.
when and where? I'm sorry.
Oh, this is 917 Cliffside Avenue in Valley Stream. We heard this case, I believe, on January 15th. No, sorry, January.
In January of this year.
January of this year.
And
So what he did was, at the first request, he required lot area occupied, front yard, and he wanted to maintain a third-story addition. He submitted new plans, which were reviewed by the building department, in which the third story is no longer required. Third-story variance is no longer required. It conforms with height. It's similar to actually.
is this the basketball hoop case?
No, absolutely not. This case, it's similar to the application you guys heard today, in which he raised the basement to so he's permitted to have no greater than 6 feet above grade. So right now, he's proposing 5 foot 11 inch above grade for the basement, so it's a raised first floor, and the first and second floor conform with the 40 feet permitted above the crown of the road. So the only variances that would be required here are a lot area occupied of 35.84%, when 30% is permitted, is decking, and a front yard average setback of 4 feet and 7 inches. So that is
Where what is required?
I have the.
Is it a corner or just?
It's not a corner lot, no.
So what's the request for a rehearing?
Request is for a rehearing, correct.
What did you say, the basement is 5 foot 11 inches?
So, yeah, so the way I conferred this with the building department, so as long as the first floor is no greater than the actual floor is no greater than 6 feet, no greater than 5 feet 11 inches above grade, it's not considered a story. So the first story for any building can be 5 foot 11 inches above grade, and that basement can be enlarged, so you have it underneath as well as 5 feet 11 inches above grade, and then the first floor can be.
You mean sink the basement
Sink
down
the
low
basement.
enough so it's not above 5'11", above grade?
Great.
Yeah, but is that the one that there's a possibility of making that 5 foot 11 into living space?
In
Is
the
that the
basement?
one that came in? Yeah.
There is, from the plan.
Remember he was looking, I thought he
Yeah.
was looking because there's something coming down.
Okay, so from what I.
I don't remember that, but.
But I thought that